I just want to take a few moments to go through some of the resources that might be really helpful for you as you are completing part 2 of your behavior project. So this document, the Positive Behavior Intervention Planner, is on eCampus under course content, and it is hugely helpful. It's a big document, it's like 30 pages, but I strongly recommend that you actually print it out and have it next to you as you're going through this process. There's everything, literally everything in here. Everything that we've done and that you will do for this project is pretty much in here. So I strongly recommend that you look through this. There's also a lot of helpful information in here if you're struggling with sort of trying to figure out which interventions would be appropriate. The next piece that I want to go through with you is this Behavior Intervention Action Plan. So you're required to do pages 1 through 4 of this, so I just want to walk you through that so you kind of know what you're doing. So page 1 is actually pretty easy. On page 1, you are essentially taking the components of your competing pathways summary, and you're just inputting it all into the first page of your behavior plan. You can kind of just take that information, drop it right in. The reason that we do that is because in real life, if you're doing a behavior assessment plan and a behavior intervention plan for a student, you as the teacher might be collecting data. You might be doing the ABC chart, and you might even be filling out the competing pathways summary all by yourself. But when it comes time to do this, when it comes time for the behavior intervention action plan, you probably are going to have other people involved. So that's why we start with the front page of this is just a summary of what's already been done. So you've already figured out the patterns and you're just re-articulating it on here. So everything just kind of drops in. Again, like I said, you've got the function of the behavior, you've got the patterns, you've got your hypothesis. The next page of this is the global strategies to address setting events. So this is connected to the setting events piece in your competing pathways. And, you know, we're thinking kind of bigger picture. Remember that bullseye that we did? So this is a little bit further removed than the actual immediate incidents. So you're thinking of things that are broader, like the environment, general academic issues, things that lead up to the behavior but don't immediately precede it, so distant variables. Then when you get down to strategies to address the antecedent triggers, that's where you're really talking about. And this is the difference between setting events and antecedent triggers. Is an antecedent trigger is what happens immediately before that behavior. And so if you've identified a pattern with antecedent behaviors, then you can implement certain strategies to try to address those antecedent triggers. So these are really individualized preventative measures. So for example, if task avoidance is an issue, perhaps when introducing a new task, you start with something that the student has already mastered before you introduce the new task. Or you start by identifying immediately that there will be a break. We're going to work on this for X amount of time, and then we're going to do Y. And that is an example of strategies to address antecedent triggers. On the next page, you have the replacement skill instruction plan. There are many elements here where you're articulating who and how you are teaching the replacement skill. There's another page that goes with this, and that's this social replacement skill instruction planning guide. So you're going to want to read through this, and this kind of walks you through it. And then on the back of this page, it peels out who's involved and who's responsible for what specific tasks. And so this is basically just a checklist, and you're checking everybody off on here who's involved with it. So these two go together. And then the last page that you're responsible for is Redirection strategies to respond when a behavior does occur. It's just a grammar error from the state, is occurs. So when a behavior does occur, what's the plan? So how do you redirect? Do you ignore the behavior? And you want to kind of think of this like you are advising somebody else who's going to be working with the student. So what specific strategies are you going to give them to react when the behavior does occur? And so you will fill out this part. Only up to progress monitoring. You're not responsible for that bottom portion. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, shoot me an email. You can feel free to call me as well. I hope this is helpful. And again, do remember that those resources are there for you on eCampus, and they'll really step you through the process. Okay? Good luck.